July 4th, 1972. It's a day that lives on in racing lore as the birth of a legend. In a 12-horse maiden special weight at Aqueduct, a striking racehorse would make his debut, and not run very impressively. But in 1973, this horse would become very well known for his unique performances at New York tracks. I am of course talking about Jacques Who. Yeah, the title of the video doesn't make this very surprising, but it's appropriate to hint at Secretariat, as both were surprisingly intertwined. But first, let's get some background on the fittingly gray-coated silver medalist. Jacques Who was born in Kentucky on April 13, 1970. Both of his parents were gray horses, guaranteeing that he'd be gray as well. His sire was Grey Dawn, the 1964 French champion 2-year-old who became the only horse to ever defeat the legendary Derby and Arc winner Seabird. He would end his racing career with a victory in America, where he was ironically renamed Grey Dawn II. His dam was Lady Dulcina, another horse best as a 2-year-old, when she won the 1965 Adirondack Stakes. She would give birth to 6 foals, 2 of them with Grey Dawn, the first foal being Jacques Who, bred by Jacques Who, who named the horse after himself and the fact that people could not pronounce his last name. But likely to Wimpheimer's chagrin, the second Grey Dawn foal came after he sold the mare to Rye Hill Farm, and would become Heavenly Cause, the champion 2-year-old of 1980, and the winner of the 1981 Kentucky Oaks. He was given Jacques, while Rye Hill got a 5-time Grade 1 winner. As far as siblings go, Jacques Who was Bart Simpson, while Heavenly Cause was Lisa. Eventually, it came time for Jacques Who to make his racing debut, where he would be put against another first-time starter named Secretariat. Both ran badly, but for different reasons. Secretariat would finish 4th thanks to being slammed at the start and dealing with traffic issues. Jacques Who simply trailed to the inside of Secretariat because he was slower than everyone else, staying there until the finish. A similar story would occur in his next start with Big Red only 11 days later. Jacques Who was number 8, and Secretariat was number 9. Secretariat started last, with Jacques Who in mid-pack. By the far turn, they were together for a brief moment, but this time, Secretariat had a clear shot, and ran away by 6 lengths, while Jacques Who fell back. As a 2-year-old, Jacques Who raced 10 times and was unable to finish in the top 3 once, not even able to earn $1,000 by the end of his first year. But it wasn't necessarily due to a lack of trying. Year 2 is a major point in a horse's development, and he had physical issues that needed to be straightened out before he could grow to his full potential. Trainer Woodrow Sedlacek thought that once these problems were fixed, he'd have a winner. The horse did improve noticeably as a 3-year-old, becoming a way more consistent performer, but it still wasn't to the level most people would want. In his first 10 starts, he would finish second 6 times, but never win. And he was just getting started. In less than 2 months, from June 1st to July 21st, he finished second 5 times consecutively. He typically stalked or came from mid-pack, and if he did get the lead, he'd relinquish it quickly. He could run on both turf or dirt, but the result always stayed the same. He'd always let someone get away. In terms of betting, he was an example of what handicappers call a sucker horse, because he was frequently bet down to 3-1 or less. And in those days, with exactas in their infancy, it was harder to capitalize on a horse like Jacques Who. But that didn't stop bettors from thinking a horse who was finishing second so often in maiden races was overdue for a win. If that wasn't already frustrating enough for the human Jacques, that same year, he debuted Jacques Who's 2-year-old half-sister, La Basque. The filly would go on to finish 3rd 7 times in her first 9 races. Combined, the two finished in the top 3 23 times in 1973 without a single win. The ultimate half-brother-sister duo. The runner-up spree peaked in late September, with 13 seconds from 20 starts. He was becoming a local celebrity with New York bettors, written about multiple times in small segments in the New York Times, highlighting his consistency, but also his futility. But one fateful Thursday, in front of 23,000 people, on September 27, 1973, 2 days before Secretariat would lose for the last time to prove out, Jacques Who broke his maiden. It had taken 31 races, but the near-white horse had done it. While details are scarce on how the horse did win, what is implied is that his jockey, Angel Cordero, somehow tricked Jacques Who into winning. Although this was the best he had shown at that point, it was to be the end of his fame. With this win, the story had concluded in the eyes of the media, and even the few people who still remember Jacques Who only really remember him because of his 1973 season. But his career was not over. He would win another race before year's end, with a final season record of 29 starts, 2 wins, 13 seconds, and 3/3, earning just over $41,000. Since then, while some have certainly come close, like New Arrival Time, who finished second 12 times at Portland Meadows and Emerald Downs in 2011, that magical 13 has never been bettered. Jacques Who would continue to race whether 23,000 were watching or 0, running all the way until the age of 8, and staying as durable but frustrating as they come. From ages 4 to 7, he would make sure to win exactly a single time each year. His best year was at age 6, where in 23 starts, he earned just under $58,000, mostly thanks to 5 seconds and 5/3 that year. He even reappeared in the New York Times, thanks to losing a 3-horse photo finish by a neck. It was another classic Jacques Who performance, just coming up short. After his 6-year-old season, he would slow down a bit in terms of how many starts he'd make, running only 8 times at age 7, but he had one more surprise. On New Year's Eve of 1977, he took the Squires Handicap at what is now Parks Racing, his 6th and final victory, and the only stakes race he would ever win. It was to be his penultimate start. Only 1 week later, he was retired with 117 starts, 6 wins, 24 seconds, and 18/3, earning just over $186,000, with every penny won the hard way. So now that we've covered where this horse got his iota of fame, the question still remains, why? What compels a horse like Jacques Who to run good enough to finish in the top 3 47 times, but only have an 8th of them be wins? It wasn't due to a lack of talent. From the few sources that describe the horse, they all seem to have a running theme, that Jacques Who had no desire to win. Horses are naturally herd animals, but each horse has a unique personality. The best racehorses have competitive spirits that drive them to run faster than everyone else, and push their neck forward in the heat of battle. Jacques Who did not have this. When he was in confrontation for the front with another horse, he would respectfully give up, and let the other guy lead the pack. He was described by Angel Cordero as a friendly horse, which in this case was to a fault. He was a follower, not a leader. In the final article written about Jacques Who, one quote really stuck out to me as it perfectly summarized him. It couldn't be said that Jacques Who was a born loser, but he's not a born winner either. Not much is known about Jacques Who's life after racing. Even though a career like his is typically only reserved for geldings with no stud value, Jacques Who still had the family jewels intact. He sired at least 64 foals, with none of them making a major impact on the track, but as a dam sire, some of his daughters were interbred with other horse breeds to make English show horses, the best of which being a quarter horse named Held Captive, a champion in hunter undersaddle at AQHA Congress, the largest quarter horse show in the world, and a reserve world champion hunter. Easily the most successful thing Jacques Who's genes produced. Speaking of genes, Jacques Who's genes could have been the cause of his death, as Jacques Who was pensioned from stud duty at 24 years old, only a year before his death due to melanomas, aka skin cancer, something that is unfortunately quite common in gray horses, and Jacques Who was genetically as gray as they come. Since both of his parents were gray, he was guaranteed to be gray as well and pass it on to his foals. These dominant gray genes are also likely why even at the very young age of 2, he is nearly white, taking out most of his color very quickly. Still, he lived to be 25 years old, a full life for a horse. He was sound as a dime and a consistent competitor even if it was for second place. Jacques Who was far from the best racehorse there was, but he has an endearing personality, not needing the glory of winning, but content just being next to other horses. And of course, a great name that rolls right off the tongue. Génial, Jacques Who.